All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Aligning Your Inner Self. My name is Christina. Whether this is your first time or you are returning, I'm so glad to have you in this space. We're going to slow it down. I wanted to incorporate some movement, some breath work, and really getting into our bodies and being able to believe something internally before we see it. And so what you'll need for tonight's session, you can have a mat. If you don't have a mat, that's okay. I do recommend having a floor just because it's a little more grounded as opposed to a couch or a bed, and also for safety reasons for back and legs. And so if you don't have a yoga mat, you could just use a blanket and kind of like double it up and just create your space. You'll also need a notebook, something to write with, and I recommend having some water. All right, so I'm going to give you a minute or two to be able to grab those items. I'm grabbing myself. Where did I leave it? I also recommend having a candle or some type of aromatherapy that you can kind of stimulate your senses with as well. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a couple breaths, about 5, and just kind of recenter and relax. And then we're going to journal for a bit. And I have some prompts that I've crafted for you all to help the creativity and stuff flowing. And then we're going to do some guided meditation, and then I'll guide you through the experience. All right. So go ahead. You should either have your legs crossed, your legs in front. If you have wall support or something to put behind you, maybe a pillow or something, go ahead and find that. I just want you to sit and relax. No matter what part you are in of your day, whether you're watching this in the morning, you're here live, or it's towards the evening, I want you to just take these moments to reset and relax. So take a deep breath in through your nose, big exhale through your mouth. Relax your shoulders, relax your hand, relax your feet. And I want you to just notice what your body is telling you today, what your body may need, what your body is asking for. You can have your eyes opened or closed. Feel free to move around or settle in as much as you need to. Allow yourself to decompress. Allow yourself to release anything from your week that no longer serves you. Continue to readjust as much as you need to. Again, legs out, legs crossed. You can be sitting up. You can put your hands down to support you, whatever is a good neutral state for your body. All you're doing is breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take 4 more breaths at your own pace. Can you deepen your last couple breaths? Maybe you yawn and that's okay. Final breath. Go ahead and start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Readjust yourself to kind of sit up nice and tall, placing one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Just tap your fingers on your body, telling your body, I see you, I feel you, and I'm connecting with you. Switch. One hand over your chest, one hand over your belly. For 3, 2, 1. Both hands on your shoulder, head down, and just massage yourself gently. Maybe move your head around to feel that deep massage. Open up your arms, reach out through your fingertips. Inhale, drop your head back. Exhale. Go ahead and give yourself a hug and a tight squeeze. Find a gentle sway side to side. Switch your hand placement. Last time, reaching through your fingers. Place your hands on the floor. Tap your fingers on the floor. Connect with the ground. Look down at your fingers as you do this. Know that the ground is here to support you. You can push on the floor. You can wiggle your fingers. But just know that you are supported. And I want this to be a spiritual symbolization that God's got you. He's holding you. He's with you. He is stable. He is sturdy. He will never let you go or disappoint you. Take your hands and wiggle them up your legs, onto your belly, up your chest, all the way to the top of your head. You are one with God. You are one with the Spirit. Bring your hands down to your knees or down to your side. And just accept that affirmation that you are not alone. Big inhale and exhale. Know that the power of God flows through you, within you, and near you. Good job. All right. So I'm going to lower the music just a bit. Go ahead and grab your notebook. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about manifestation. I know that that is a word that gets thrown around. I believe a lot of people associate it with like New World practices. I don't associate it with that. I do see that in that space a lot. But just go ahead and write down the word manifestation at the top of your page. Let's start there. Manifestation. Okay. Once you've written that down, when I see this word, I break it down into literal components. So underneath the word manifestation, write down the word man. All right, so that's the first part of the word manifestation. Now, I know that in the Bible, when it speaks on man, it is incorporating men and women, but just relating to us as mankind, as humans, human beings. And so the first part, man being, okay, a responsibility on us and what we can do and what we decide with our choices, what we do with our time, what we do with our finances and our resources. So I just make a note that the first part is man. Second part is fest. What do you think of? Noelle, I'm going to call on you since you're live with us. Where have you seen this root word in other places? Fest, F-E-S-T.
My mind actually just draws a blank.
So think about what happens in the summer in Chicago.
Oh, like a party?
Mm-hmm.
Like a party, get together.
Yep. So we have a gathering, we have a festival, gathering. So I'm just jotting out these words next to fest. Festival, gathering. I think of like power. Just how powerful those spaces can be, like hearing people sing songs at concerts, knowing that they can shut down an area because of the amount of people that are there for, whatever artist.
Or
So I'm gonna
unity.
write down, say it again.
Unity.
Yes, very good. Yes, unity. That's a good one. And then I also think about an infestation.
Ooh,
Right?
the opposite.
Yeah. Well, it's more similar than you
In a way.
think. In a way, yeah. So having, I don't know what's common. Let's just do ants because I've experienced a lot of apartments in Miami with infestation. So I don't want to re-trigger myself. But something as little as ants, right? Having a few ants, all right, you get a spray, you kill them, it's not a problem. Having an infestation of something, what do you think of when you see it, when you think of infestation?
Too much.
Yeah, too much. Yep. So you can write that word.
Overkill.
Yes. Infestation, overkill, maybe even suffocating, like whatever it is taking over, right? And I can't help to think of in Genesis when Moses and Aaron were, going through the different plagues and all the things and trying to get Pharaoh to release the people. There was an infestation of locusts, of certain things, and how it just took over. Yeah, it just, I mean, the way the Bible describes it, that it was in kitchens, it was in living rooms, it was outside, it was on houses, it was on people.
Couldn't escape it.
Say it again.
You couldn't escape it.
Yes. So you are completely surrounded by it, immersed. That's what I think of. Being immersed by that one thing. All right. So let's break down the next one. Station. First thing I think of, and then I'll pop it to you, is like a train station. So it's like a location of something.
Or that you're settled.
Yep. And a station is like an area allocated for a resource. Like I think of like a hand sanitizing station. It's like you come here to do this one thing.
Mm.
So a station serves a purpose. I think a lot of people confuse the word station with like being stagnant,
Yeah,
like being stuck in one place.
yeah.
Do you think of that?
That's what I meant
Mhm.
earlier. I meant like if when someone is stationed
Ah,
at a place, like they have to be there
mm,
for their job or
mm.
something like that. There's
Yep, yep,
they have to stay.
yeah,
They have to stay there. Yeah, in that location.
that's good. Yep. So being assigned to a
Ah,
location,
mhm. Yeah.
being assigned to oversee a location. Okay. All right. So let's pause there with manifestation. We broke it down with manifest and station. The next thing I want to reflect on is the word meditation. We're not going to break it down in segments, but I just want to start jumping out and saying meditation. What do you think of? What I think of? Let's just like popcorn it. So the first thing I think of is prayer. I see prayer as meditation. Um,
Silence.
Silence. Okay, absolutely. Silence. I also think of reflection,
Mhm.
right? And so it's not just like I don't think that you can go to sleep and meditate at the same time. I think that because if that was the case, then I meditate a lot. But I think that the intention of your silence. So what
Mhm.
is your intention of that time? Intention of silence.
Or focus.
Yes, very good. Do you think that you have to be still in order to meditate?
I used to think that you had to be still to
Mm.
meditate.
What
Um,
what
and
made
to
you think
focus
that?
on one thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I was always taught to like, if you want to meditate, you need to clear your mind, and you can't clear your mind if you have distractions everywhere
Mhm.
and you're moving and doing stuff. So you need to
Mhm.
just be still and focus on maybe one thing or
Mhm.
something like that. So I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's why I think that, but
Yep.
maybe
Yep. And
not. I
so
don't know.
I think that it depends on the powers behind the meditation. And so in this space, I speak very frank on our beliefs of Christianity and the word. And I believe that in the new age culture and that religion, I do believe it's a religion, they do say to clear your mind. In yoga, they do say to clear your mind. That is actually unbiblical. We are not to clear our mind, and we are to always be focused on Christ, to be more like him, to be closer to him, to be calling out to the Holy Spirit, to get more wisdom from the fruit of the Spirit, and to be able to work with Jesus as an advocate to be able to, speak to God of what we need. And so we are actually not told to clear our mind, but we're told to keep our focus on the cross. So just wanted to make that point. Any questions with that statement?
Um, no, I think I read an article before I started uh, these life um, lessons with you. I
Hmm.
read an article about, can Christians meditate, like
Mm.
yoga
Hmm.
and like those kinds of things.
Hmm.
Um, and from what I read from it, from what I remember,
Hmm.
um, it was told. I think what did it say? think it said something among the same type of thing, like
Mm-hmm.
um they focus on self, focus
Yeah.
on clearing your mind, and focus on your inner self and all these
Mm-hmm.
things. And I know the what you said, like the word, it talks about, well, focus on God.
Mm-hmm.
Your meditations should be, God focused. So I
Yeah. To
think
meditate on the
your
word
article
day and
is
night.
pretty
Yeah.
accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And so I do agree. I do agree that the roots and the origins of meditation and yoga in this world, in the American society, um, and coming from the Middle Eastern, is to focus on self, enhancing self, opening up your third eye, the consciousness. Do I practice that? No. Do I let people who choose that route? Hey, that's you, that's your choice, that's your religion. I want the freedom to practice mine. And I set the intentionality when I started my 6 months training of yoga. They asked, why are you here? And I said, because I myself want to be able to move in my body and to hear God through my movement and what he has to say to me in my body. And then be able to guide others to be able to build that connection with God. I see it as a form of prayer
I
and
was gonna say,
worship.
how's that even possible? I mean, everything's possible with God. I'm just
Hmm.
saying, like, that doesn't, like, well, yeah, I guess that's why I'm here. 'Cause I'm like, I never even thought about ever
Hmm.
doing anything like that,
Hmm.
you
A
know?
lot of people don't. A
I
lot
didn't
of
know I
people,
could.
yeah, a lot of you can bring God into anything. God and the power of the blood can overcome anything. It's stronger than witchcraft. It's stronger than any other practices that people freely choose. And in this space, I freely choose to bring God into it. So an example will be, if I was doing downward dog, which is when you're on your hands and you're on your toes and you're kind of stretching out your lower back. Um, if I feel tightness in my back, then I'll ask God, God, what am I holding on to? Is there anything that I'm stressing about that I'm not releasing unto you? And then I just breathe and stretch it out, you
Wow.
know? I allow my
I've
body
never
to
even
tell
thought
me
about it
what,
that way.
yeah, yeah. Like, what am I doing? What am I holding on to? Oh, me going into yoga and into this meditation practice was because I kept going to yoga classes and I kept crying hysterically in certain movements. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And I was so curious that I kept coming back. Um, and it was the hip stuff. And we would do like hip openers or like hip stretches and the water works. But it was the first time that I felt disconnected from the emotion. I was literally crying and like, why am I crying? And I got so curious that I dove in and became a teacher to, learn more about it. Realized through my training that we store a lot of trauma in our hips. And I was like,
What?
oh, our hips are the biggest savers of trauma. It holds the tension, um, sexual trauma, sexual assault, rape, but also just it's such a sensitive and powerful area that it's our core, our stomach and all this area, and it just holds in store from childhood until our adulthood. And so I was like, I want other people to be able to experience this freedom to release it. And the thought of like, I used to, all the way through college, I didn't stretch every day. I stretched every once in a while. I wasn't flexible. I couldn't do a split. I couldn't like bend over and like touch my feet or anything. I'd probably like stop at my thighs because I was so tight. Um, and so, to bring it all together, I think of when Jesus went to the garden and he told the disciples, the two disciples that were with him, stay here. I need to go and be with God alone. And so in that scripture, one, I see that Jesus is setting a boundary. Two, I see that Jesus is showing us and demonstrating the importance of not always being surrounded or consumed by people or things or entertainment or distractions, but being able to sit with God. The third thing I saw was that he was honest with God. I just imagine Jesus like pacing the garden. I imagine him sitting on a boulder and talking to God, touching flowers, whatever he was. And it led all the way to him breaking down tears of blood because of the agony that he did not want to go on the cross, but he knew that he was called to do it. And so holding on to that, and I was like, that was Jesus meditating. That was Jesus having a conversation with God by himself. He set up an atmosphere. I imagine in that garden, it was probably so many fruits and smells and animals and things to see and to look at. And that was his meditation space. Like, I was like, this is something that we are supposed to do. Jesus wasn't always saving people 24/7. He wasn't always with his disciples, but he was able to sit and honestly tell God. Now that dynamic is like mind blowing because he is like God, but he was still so honest and said, I don't want to do this. And to cry tears of blood, that meant that he was really, really just releasing things from his core. And he wasn't pretending that everything was okay, that he was fine. He wasn't suppressing, he was releasing. And so I take that and I think of it through the lens of an entrepreneur, a person, a daughter, all the roles that we play, and the importance of sitting alone with ourselves and being able to be 100% honest with God and being able to release our deepest fears, our deepest traumas, our deepest thoughts. And it always may not be words, it could be journaling, it can be drawing, it can be through music, it can be through humming. It's not always verbal. And that's where I really like emphasize with people your body knows what it needs to release to God. And my biggest method has always been tears. I've always released tears and tears that I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? But then I let it go and be like, all right, God, this is my body's way of saying, here, take this. This is what I'm feeling. I don't know, but the spirit inside of me and God knows what it is that I'm releasing. And I think to be a successful entrepreneur, we need to be doing that constantly. Releasing our fears about who we are as people, releasing our fears about our dreams, releasing our fears about our capacity, and being able to invite and welcome God and say, here I am. This is what I'm feeling without shame, without judgment. And the biggest avenue that I believe God can talk to us outside of the word, outside of sermon, outside of fellowship, through our body. And the more we feed the fruit of the spirit, joy, peace, kindness, the more that we'll be able to have an overflow and be like, why am I doubting myself so much? Why do I not believe that I'm capable of these things? And it's through that stillness, it's through sitting down. And meditation can be 5 minutes. It can be in your car. It can be in the shower. It can be anywhere because God is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I want to break that
There's
norm that,
there's something
yeah,
about sorry. There's
no,
something
no,
about
go ahead.
warm, hot water. Well, I'm saying there's something about warm, hot water, like cleansing you, and you're just in it, and all you have is you and your thoughts.
Mhm.
And yeah, The
Yeah.
shower is great. I'm sorry, go
And
ahead.
you're naked and you're vulnerable. You're like, it's a very vulnerable state to be in the shower. And
Yes,
that is where I release a lot of tears too. Sometimes I sit and just let the water hit me
I do
and let it
too.
be symbolic. Yeah, and let it be symbolic of like, I need a cleansing from whatever it is I'm feeling or thinking or this week. It just helps me reset. Like the power in water, we drink it, we cook with it, we shower with it, we wash our clothes in it. Like the world is consumed, in majority of water. It's a very powerful thing. And to use it to your advantage and to not judge yourself of like, meditation should look like this, or it has to be like that, or it can't be this, but pushing your own boundaries
See,
and breaking your own framework. Hmm.
that's why, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been taught to, if you're gonna meditate, this is how you do it. And if you're not doing it that way, then you're
You're not
not
doing it
doing
right.
it right. And God's not fully like hearing what stuff like that. It's like,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, I
And
do
that's
it
so
through worship.
sad.
It
Yeah, but
is.
I thought like that too. And I was like, what? Why am I shutting God out? Why am I being so hard on myself on what meditation should be and should not be? But it's what we consume in society,
Yeah.
is what we see other people do. And what works for one person may not work for us. And that's okay because we are different.
Right.
We are different, but it is important to do, to empower. And you can do things to set yourself up. You can have a specific meditation playlist. I have one on Spotify that is just Christian meditation music and it's just instrumentals. That helps me kind of get into it and kind of like start relaxing. Maybe I have a candle. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe one day it's just cooking, like making tea and waiting for the water instead of putting the water on and doing something else. When
Mm,
I learned that last year and I told my therapist, I was like, whoa, healing is not point A to point B. Healing is here and then 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 come back here. Healing is multi-dimensional. And
wow.
I think that is where God can really show up in our self-esteem, reminding us of our identity, reminding us of all the things we have access to. And so I want to transition back. So we talked about, meditation, prayer, reflection. It could be silence. It doesn't have to be. It can be still, but it can be movement. And bringing together with the manifestation. And so for me, when I see the words in the Bible that says life and death is in the power of the tongue, that is my fundamental verse for manifestation. That if we speak death over ourselves, we attract it and we set ourselves up for it. If we speak life over ourselves, we attract it and we set ourselves up to walk into it. And I think that's the key that I've learned that has unlocked so much more potential in me. And so, an example of that is me writing out 7 things. Baby, hi, baby. Go with Poppy. Go with Poppy. We just got him.
Really?
Yeah,
What
it's like
is
a
it?
whole thing. Like I've been
What?
traumatized by dogs. I've been attacked. His name is Romeo, and he's just been such a joy to have. My
Yes,
baby.
they bring a lot of joy.
I had no idea. I mean, this dog waits for me to wake up. He's just sits there like, I'm like, Romeo, get out, lay down. He's just like,
I love that.
hurry up,
I
yes.
love
I was like,
that.
what? This is so different. Um, And so meditation can be just me playing with the dog
Yeah.
and just taking a moment to like relax and slow down and not always be in front of a screen, whether it's TV or phone or computer, and just
Hmm.
being like, wow, Adam named all the animals. Adam spent time with all these different creatures and walked in the garden and just named them, time with them, learned them, fed them. And so I'm learning about a different side of God through our dog. And so that's like nice little surprise.
I love that. That's why
Yeah.
that's why I want a pet sanctuary.
We'll be the first ones to sign up, okay? Because yeah, I've been thinking of you too as just being like, wow, I understand why, you may love dogs and love pets. And now I understand why people love they're an extension of the family. And I'm like,
Hmm.
really changes your mood,
Like
you
your
know.
baby. He's your baby.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
Now
training
you
me.
now you got two. You got two. Well, one now, one on the way.
Yeah, I feel like Romeo is preparing me to
Hmm.
become a mom,
Hmm.
like being nurturing, being patient, like when he sits by the door and I'm like, "Oh, you gotta go outside now?" But I'm okay, let's go
Okay.
outside. Like, it's okay. I walk him like 3, 4 times a day, and yeah, I appreciate that he breaks up my day. And so preparing for like having a child, the spontaneity of like just going with the flow and not being rigid. I'm learning that as well this week too.
That's great.
And so something that I actually do with Romeo is I speak a lot of affirmations to Romeo in reflection of how I speak to myself. And so manifestation for me, an example can be writing out in the morning 5 things of I am. Even if I don't believe it, even if I don't feel it, even if I don't see it, I am strong. I am powerful. I am capable. I am smart. I am a CEO. These are things that I was saying before I was in it. Excuse me. And I felt so disconnected from it. And I was like, I feel like I'm lying. I was like, I
Ooh,
don't believe these things. And I just pushed myself. I had one specific notebook for just manifestations.
wow.
And going through it, it's been the same notebook. I'm going in year 3 with it and being able to go back and see like how minute and small my thinking was of like, I can wake up on time for work tomorrow. I will drink a gallon of water. Now, in that moment, was that really big for me? Absolutely. But being able to see my progress of, I will do that one task that I don't want to do.
Mm.
I will file my taxes. I will set up an appointment for this. I will go through my stack of paperwork that needs to be organized. It became for me less superficial and more internal of like, what do I want to change here? And I saw myself building and building and building. And then I'd go back every once in a while and just highlight like, I accomplished this. I started the business. I moved to Miami. I set a boundary with this person. And there was something about that gratification of being able to say, I did it. I wrote it, I spoke it, I said it, and I did it. I was like, all right, what's next? What else can we do? And
Yeah.
what's really encouraging is that breaking with the breakdowns, manifestation, man is mankind. We have the power to change our life. Life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. We are experiencing it. Although God has a plan for our life, even if we miss a turn or we do something wrong, it's like a GPS. He reroutes us and we can still get to that end goal. So that means that we have more power than we think. And it's not just, if I don't do it this way, it's not going to work.
Mm.
There's people who take multiple tests or they do multiple tries, 5, 7 times, 3 times they try to start a business. but they kept going. And so when I see the part man and manifestation, it reminds me that God has equipped us and he has given us all the tools we need to be able to go forward and what he has planted as a desire in our heart. Our dreams are really just his dream. He wants us to manifest it into the world. He wants us to be a reflection of him. And so that reminds me that I'm not as helpless as I used to think I was. And it's not, this is always happening to me, or I can't do nothing, or this is my situation. It's a mindset. The second part is fest. So some of the words we wrote down was gathering, unity, power, and we even said infestation, overkill, being immersed. And that I equate with passion. We should be so immersed in our passion, so consumed by our dreams that we think about it every single day. Whatever we want to change, whatever we want to grow, develop, we want to become, develop into, to think about a festival. Our words, if we think of like Lollapalooza and all the people that are there, the power of doing affirmations every day, whether it's writing it down, saying it in the mirror while you're driving to work. I am this, I am that, I am beautiful, I'm capable. And thinking of every single person as a festival, as an affirmation, right? Let's say you do that for 6 months straight. That is powerful. That is 6 months of reconditioning that you've done to your mind. And it's just adding and adding and adding, equipping, building up. You're believing in yourself, you're being more bold. And we want to be so immersed in God's dream that we literally wake up out of our sleep and it's like, I gotta just do this. I gotta just try. And all our words, whether it's within ourselves, what we're thinking, what we're saying, should be in alignment with that. We should not be beating ourselves up with negativity. So the same thing with with right. So I want to be very transparent about that. The same thing how we said about infestation, that I equate to negativity, negative thoughts, negative things, speaking negative, engaging in negative conversation, negative behaviors. That is also powerful. And that is also limiting. And so going back to that verse, the power of the tongue. Are you going to speak life and growth? Or are you going to speak death and negativity and build like this wall and dark cloud around yourself? And so that fast is like whatever we say is going to grow. Whatever we don't say is going to minimize. All right. Any questions with those first two? Or comments or thoughts?
No.
Okay. Last part is station. We said train station, being settled. A station serves a purpose. Being assigned to oversee a location. And so with station, that actually ties in with meditation. There should be an area in your space, a physical area where you can go if you needed to sit in stillness with yourself. I think that is really key. In every apartment I've ever had since I left college, I've always had some type of meditation corner. Did I sit in it every day? No, but it was there when I needed it. And it served as a visual reminder for me to like, hey, I haven't checked in with myself. Or like, I need to slow down. It can be as simple as a pillow. From there, a pillow developed into maybe a plant, maybe a special teacup that I only used when I was like sitting and meditating. I had a specific candle. And so when I saw that, it kind of set me up to, well, it's already there. It's like, having a plate of food at the table. If I see the plate of food with a fork and something to drink and a napkin, I'm going to eat it, whether it was for me or not. I'm like, well, I'm not going to let it go to waste, right? So the same thing with having a station for meditation. If it's already set up and all you got to do is warm up a little bit of water, light the candle, grab your pillow. It will increase your chances of desiring to want to sit in your garden. What does your garden need for you to be in it and to spend time in it? And I always had my Bible, and I always have my Bible open in my meditation place. Because I believe that the word of God is alive and powerful. And I literally just leave it open to wherever I last read, to let it bring life into my area, into that room, into the house. It's alive. And when we speak it and we believe it and what God says we are, that's powerful. We're not building out like, oh, I believe this. No, we're speaking what the word says
Yeah.
of what we are. And that encourages me because I can let myself down any day. But when God spoke it, that means it has to come true. And so if we speak back to him, if I write down, okay, the word says that I can be kind, that I can be joyful, that I can be rich, in spirit, I'm going to tell God, God, you said that I can access all these things from here, and I'm requesting. Help me have more patience. Help me have more peace. Help me have X, Y, and Z. But we can't hear God if we don't slow down enough. Disconnect from everything, disconnect from screens, from TV. Can God use those as modality? Absolutely. But there's just something special about sitting with oneself in the shower, in the car, and just saying, hey, what's going on with me? Okay.
That's my place, the car.
Yeah. Sometimes, just if you're working a lot or your commute is long, I've experienced that too. And like that had to be my meditation space for a little bit. And so, setting up my car, I had sticky notes of like affirmations on the window, or I had a Bible verse of the week and I'd put it on the dashboard. I just like, God, wherever I can get you to meet me, I need you. I need a reset. Okay. So I actually want to, I know we started 8 minutes over, so I want to utilize the full 6 minutes, full 60 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and guide you in a really brief meditation. So what you do is you're going to lay down on your back. If you need a pillow to put under your legs, please do so. If you need a pillow to put under your back for support, please do so as well. I know that laying on our back is not comfortable for everyone, depending on how their body's doing that day. You want to change your lighting, you want to grab a blanket, whatever you need. As you lay down, slowly ease into it. Don't just plop yourself down, but slowly cater to yourself and lower down. Feel free to have your knees up or your legs straight out. Today, I'm going to have my knees up. Hands can be on your belly or on the ground. Palms facing down or up. Lots of options. Take a big breath in. Can you relax your shoulder a little bit more? Maybe wiggle your body a little bit to kind of imagine you're on a beach and you're trying to settle into the sand a little bit. Notice if you feel fidgety, if you feel anxious. It's okay to move. Sometimes it may be a soothing type of a movement. I like to rock my knees, excuse me. Can you take deeper breaths in? We can talk for some. I'm going to invite you, if your legs are straight out, to please bring your heels close to your bottom, just like I have mine, and gently rock your knees side to side. We're going to alleviate some of that tension in your lower back. If you spend a lot of time on your feet or sitting in a car, this is a good movement for that. Hold it to one side for 3, 2, 1. Other side. 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring your hands up over your head if you have the space to do so, and reach through your fingers like you're trying to reach the wall. If you don't have a lot of space, you can grab your elbows. I just want you to pull and elongate your body. Inhale. Exhale. From here, we're going to go ahead and turn our body to one side very slowly. You're going to make the arm that's closest to the ground into a pillow. You're going to stack your knees, stack your hips. So again, arm closest to the ground becomes your pillow. Stack your hips, stack your knees. If you need a pillow for alignment, you can do that as well. Make sure your feet are stacked. And fetal position. You can use your other hand to support, or you can just bring it to caress and make more of a pillow for yourself. And just relax here for 30 seconds. Inhale and exhale. Let your body be supported by the ground in which we chose today to let it symbolize God holding you, supporting you, being with you. Three more breaths here. Final breath. Big inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. From here, we're going to do our final closing movement. Take your hand and push yourself up. We are going to do tabletop. In tabletop, your wrists should be in alignment with your shoulder, and your knees should be in alignment with your hips. Your toes should be flat on the ground. Spread your fingers wide for balance. Look down at your hands. Readjust yourself. First thing we're gonna do is wag our tail. Side to side, loosening up your back, loosening up your hips. Remember to breathe. Transition, move your body forward and back. Doesn't have to be big movements. Whatever you can do today. And from here, bring your toes to touch. Bring your knees out wider than your hip. You have a couple options. You can come down to your elbow. Maybe that's where you stay today. You can lean back. Bring your bottom to your heels. Still staying on your elbows. Next option, reaching out nice and long in front of you and bringing your chin or your forehead down to the mat. Final option, sometimes I like to do this. I make fists with my hands and I stack it and I make that my pillow, depending on how tight my back is if I can't go down low. If you find another creative way to be in this pose for 30 seconds, you're more than welcome to do that as well. As you sit here, this is one of the poses that I take and I surrender it back to God. If I do my arms out, I bring my hands to face the ceiling as a way of, Lord, I'm here at the feet of Jesus. What do you need from me? What do you want from me? How can I be what you've designed me to be? There's a very humbling posture that I use to give myself to God a little bit more. 15 more seconds. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and place your hands back down on the floor. Push yourself back up into tabletop. Turn your hips towards me and let's meet in a seated position. Legs out or cross-legged. Take your hands, place them over your heart, repeat after me. Give you a few seconds to meet me here. I am powerful. You're going to say it out loud at your own pace. I am purposeful. I am prosperous. And I am worthy. Take a deep breath in. Let's take 3 breaths. Bring your hands out, scoop up. Inhale, reach. Exhale, receive God's promise for you. 2 more times. Inhale, scoop up. Exhale, receive it. Last time, big inhale, reach up. 3, 2, 1, exhale. And we can begin to slowly open your eyes. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. I hope that in tonight's session that you feel more connected to yourself, that you remember that you are more powerful than you think, and to find your own way to find meditation, manifestation into a lifestyle, not something you choose to do, but something you willingly do every single day. And to be okay with where you are and to be honest with yourself. I want to see you all flourish. I want to see you all be successful. And before we dive into next month and talking about, the literal steps of becoming an entrepreneur, this is the work. Believing in yourself, having a practice for those really hard days, those long nights, knowing that it is a spiritual experience to live out your purpose. And I want to equip you and remind you that you have everything you need inside of you. So thank you for those who are live. Thank you for those who watch this at your own pace. I will say that in my practices that I do, they may tend to be emotional, certain movements, certain songs, and to please take 5 minutes post our experience and just like sit in this. Maybe find a song or find something to help you feel more comfortable. And before you go to the next thing, even if you're at the office and just watching this, just take 5 minutes and really soak in what we talked about. Don't let it pass by too fast. And it's okay to feel what you feel. Okay? I appreciate you. I love you all. I care for you. And I'm honored to be on this journey and facilitating you living your best life and making your dreams a reality. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
We love you.
Love you too. Thank you. I appreciate that and I receive that. All right, you all. See you later. Bye.